are making the DIYs that I make the most money with. This is a really simple DIY. If you've been following along on my channel, you know that I love making signs on scrap wood. So I got all kinds of different graphics today on scrap wood. All this wood that I'm using, I didn't pay for. It's all free. So I'm excited to show you what I've put together, because if you can save your little scrap bits and pieces of wood and you have a method of selling them, you can make some extra cash really easy. So I'm going to take you step by step through all of these steps. So can you guys hear me? I'm using a new mic today, so I want to make sure that it's working. Let me know in the comments where you're watching from, because I think it's fantastic to go to the comments and see where everyone is watching from. I think it's so fun because there are people from all over the world that come here and we all craft together. So let me know down in the comments that you can hear me, you can see me, and we are going to start creating. These lives are kind of, the last couple that I've tried to do, okay, so you guys can hear me then. The last couple lives that I've tried to do have either dropped off or I've lost sound, so we are crossing our fingers that this is going to work and it's going to be good. Yes, I hear you. Thank you so much for joining along. We've got Arizona in the house already, and Tennessee, Illinois. Hi, Barb. Hi, Tammy. So I'm all about getting right to it, and I am going to show you how I make money with scrap wood, making signs. These are my best seller. If you can collect scrap wood and put these together and you have a market to sell them, you can make extra cash really quickly. I'm using all the graphics that I'm using today are available in my Etsy store. The graphics that are in my Etsy store are all good sellers. I'm not designing graphics that I know are not going to sell. All of these in there are good sellers and look really nice on signs. So we got Vancouver, Washington, Jacksonville, Vancouver, BC, Charlie, that's where my daughter is. She's in Port Moody, Vancouver. This is fantastic. Okay, so I'm gonna bring my camera down. Let's get to work. Bear with me here. We're gonna go with the overhead camera so you guys can see better. There we go. Perfect. Okay, so first off, scrap wood. I never throw out any scrap wood. I save everything. Every little bit and piece can be turned into a sign or a shelf sitter, or this is pallet wood that I have cut into an arrow, painted. Another piece of pallet wood, scrap wood that I got. These actually came out of a bin, a free bin at Home Depot, scrap wood. I very rarely buy any wood. If you put word out to your friends, you're going to get more wood than you know what to do with. Turn them into signs, make some extra cash. So we are going to start with, let's start with this little piece of wood. This actually looks like it was off of something else. So sometimes if I have something that I'm upcycling and it's just too broken and it's just not put together well, I will take it apart and make it into something else. And I think that's where this piece of wood came from. When you are making signs, the chalk paint works best. I find you don't get as good a transfer on acrylic paint or latex. Latex paint hardly works at all. It's just, there's latex in it, so it doesn't let the graphic adhere to it. I get the best results with chalk paint. I have a chalk paint recipe. It works fantastic. If you don't have your own or you don't want to buy it, this is a really good but cheaper alternative to make your own chalk paint. I have a full tutorial on my channel on how to make that, and you can check that out. I also have a paint recipe book that has the recipe in it also, that's listed in my Etsy store. Oh, we got Sweden in here, Nebraska. See, this is what I mean, guys. go into the comments and see where everyone is watching from. It's so fun. I can't believe we've got people from all over the world watching here. Okay, so my graphic. This is out of my Etsy store, one of my best sellers, very farmhouse. I still have really good luck with farmhouse. It sells here. I know everybody's area is going to be a little bit different, but it still sells here. So we're going to keep making signs that sell well. This is poultry and eggs. Now this is printed off on my LaserJet printer, and you have to make sure that you're reversing the text, because when we put this on our piece of wood, watch, see? Now the letters are the right way. If you're not reversing them, when you go to put it on your piece of paper, they're going to be backwards. So we're going to reverse the text. If you're buying these graphics out of my Etsy store, one of the graphics is already reversed, so you don't need to worry about that. And I've sized it in Google Docs to fit my project. If you have any questions, pop in the comments and let me know. Can you use your transfer method on raw weathered wood? Good question. That's an excellent question. Yes, you can. But I don't like using this method to do that. If I'm using raw wood, I like to use my polyacrylic sealer. And I do have a tutorial on that too. And it's basically the same method as using Mod Podge, but using polyacrylic sealer. Mod Podge is cloudy. It has a kind of a creamy look after you've rubbed it off. So if you're using the Mod Podge on raw wood, you're going to see the outline of the Mod Podge. If you're using the polyacrylic sealer, I find it blends in better on raw wood. So I hope that answers your question. Okay, so this here, you're going to say, but that's not Mod Podge. I got this at Michael's, and it's a dupe. It's the same as Mod Podge. It's actually even a bit cheaper, and I find it works 100% just as good as Mod Podge. This is Art Minds, I think it's called. Decoupage glue sealer, matte finish, exactly like Mod Podge matte finish. I actually found this one at the thrift store, unopened, for $1.99. So that was a steal. Okay, so we've got our graphic. We are going to just use a light coat. You don't need very much. If you're putting in a thick coat of Mod Podge, you're going to see the outline of the Mod Podge after your sign is done. You don't need very much to do a transfer, just enough to cover the graphics, and that's all that you need. Okay, let's go to the comments here. I have tried the reverse print transfer. I'm using chalk paint and dry overnight. I can't seem to get it all to rub off like it does. I either lose a letter or it doesn't want to come off. Okay, so the first question, Gail, is are you using a LaserJet or an inkjet? If you're using an inkjet, it's a little bit more tricky. You're going to have a little bit more of the graphic rub off. That could be your issue. I find you have a lot better results with a laser printer. And if you're going to be doing a lot of these, I got to stand up so I make sure I got this even on here. If you're doing a lot of these, it's worthwhile investing in a laser printer. It's just an easier process, and you'll have a better transfer. That being said, so that's all you need. You don't need very much. Press it down, get all the bubbles and wrinkles out. Now we're going to set this aside and let it dry for 24 hours, and it'll be ready to rub off. So let's go on to, this is just another hunk of scrap wood. I've painted with my chalk paint, sanded around the edges, made it look kind of distressed. I find those sell better, the distressed piece of wood. It gives it some character, and I just think it looks better. Bought your paint recipe, and I made it like a journal with a wider... Oh, perfect. That's great, Tammy. We got Gainesville, Florida in here, and we got Quebec. Hello, Carol. Okay, so this is sat since yesterday. I put the graphic on. I just have a little sponge and some water here, and you're just going to dampen that paper until it just starts to show through. You don't need to have it soaking wet. You just want that graphic to show through. And I don't like to do the whole thing at the same time. I like to do it in portions. and then go back. If you're just joining, we are making wooden signs from scrap wood that sell really well. You can make some extra cash doing this technique, and it's really simple to do. And it does work on an inkjet or a laserjet printer. So your options are good if you don't have a laser printer. And then you just start rubbing. Now, I've had a lot of people comment on it hurts their fingers. I've done so many signs that probably I have calluses on my fingers, so I don't feel them as much. But you can take, I'll just show you here. If your fingers do bother you, you can take off that first layer with the sponge and take off most of that paper, and then go back with your fingers afterwards and finish it off. I do find you have to go in with your fingers that last little bit, because you can feel the paper underneath when it's gone. If you're doing it with this sponge or a rag, you can't feel the paper coming off as well. But you can see here, like, we've taken that first layer off with the sponge and it was fine. But now I'll go back in with my fingers and you can feel the paper rubbing up underneath and coming off. Now, a lot of people also ask me, where do you sell your signs? And my answer to that is it depends on your area, but there's a few different ways that work really well. The first is Facebook Marketplace. Make some signs, list it there, and see if you can sell them there. The other way, of course, is if you have a booth, or if you go to craft sales, you can do up a whole bunch of signs at the craft sale, sell them there. And another really great idea is if you have a local home decor store or gift store, put a whole bunch of signs together in a basket so they look nice. Take them to your gift store, your local gift store, or maybe you have a friend. Show them what you're making and ask if they'd be interested in selling your signs in their store. And there's a couple ways of doing that. You can do it, sell them wholesale to that person, and then they can put whatever price they want on it and sell it, and you've already got your wholesale money, so you're good to go. Or you can do it on a commission, and then they would pay you once the signs have sold. That's a really great option of how to sell signs. But if you're just beginning, throw them up on Facebook Marketplace, and you might be surprised how well they sell. And another thing that I like to do, especially if I'm doing these smaller signs, is I'll put 3 or 4 together and sell as a group instead of just one single sign. And then people think they're getting a deal if you've got more than one sign, and then you can sell them for a little bit more money, and you'll see more revenue come in from that. The other thing that I always tell people when you're making signs, don't get using funky colors. You want to stick to your black and white or beiges. Every once in a while, as you'll see here, every once in a while I'll sneak in a different color for fun, but your main bulk of signs do with a black distress underneath and white, because then it will fit into anyone's decor. If you're making a sign that's bright yellow and blue distressed, it's not going to fit into everybody's home, and you're going to be limited to your customer that you can sell to. So keep neutral. That is a really good point to remember when making these signs. And if you're making your own chalk paint, just buy the cheapest latex paint that you can find. You don't need a good quality paint, because you're going to be turning that into chalk paint and make up the recipe, and it works perfect. Okay, are you going to be planning on more beach and summer graphics? Yes, I will. I'm adding graphics every week into my Etsy store, so always check back. Now that we're into the spring and summer season, you'll see a lot more of those heading into my shop. And for any of you that aren't that are new to my channel or just joining along, I also have a graphic club on Patreon. And if you are a sign maker and you want some really affordable graphics that sell well, and all of these graphics that end up in my Etsy store, I've made them, I've sold them, I know they do well, so you're guaranteed to have good results with it. I have a Patreon club. You can sign up, and what you do is any new graphic that I get uploaded into my Etsy store, you are going to get sent. I'm tripping on my words. I'm talking too much here. Okay, so I have a Patreon club. It's graphics, and I upload graphics every week. And if you're a member of the Patreon club, you're going to get sent those graphics that I've uploaded that week into your inbox and ready to craft with. It's $6.99 a month. You're guaranteed by the end of the month to have 20 graphics. I think last month it actually ended up being 30 graphics. So if you're making a lot of signs or you're crafting a lot, that it works out really great, because I think it's like 35 cents a graphic, opposed to if you're just buying my graphics, they're $2.50. The other thing is with this membership is you get a 70% off discount code for any previous graphics that are already in my Etsy store that you can go in and grab. So basically, I've set this graphic club up, and you are basically just getting the graphics for my cost to list them in the Etsy store, because I want to share them with you. I want you guys to be able to use these graphics and create with them and make some extra money. Let's go back to the comments. We have a craft fair this Saturday. Setup is Friday. I'm really excited because it's in our town. Hopefully get lots of customers. I love craft fairs. They're so much fun. And I actually have the Ultimate Craft Show checklist in my Etsy store. This is so valuable. If you're doing a craft show, this has a checklist of everything that you need to take to the craft show. And by doing all of these steps, it's going to ensure that you are prepared, you have everything organized so you can make more money when you're there. An email list. If you are doing a craft fair, you want to get everybody's email. So if you have another product that you're making or you're selling, you can send them an email and ask if they're interested, or you have a business email list set up. So this is really great to have an email list. I've got a receipt page, so you can write up receipts if someone wants one for the craft fair. Sales tracker, so you can go through and you can write down everything that you've sold, and you can total it up at the end of the day and see how much money you've made. And then I also put in an order form for custom orders. If you're doing personalized signs, then you have that form there, and you can fill it all out. So this is a really great, if you are doing a craft show, this is something you might want to think about. And if you're a Patreon member, you can grab the checklist with your 70% off discount code. It's a great deal. How do you price your signs? Oh, you guys are really making me go here. Pricing signs. I've put these booklets together because I get these questions all the time, and it just makes it so easy for you. You can go back and you can go to your guide, and I have a formula of how I price my signs, and this steps it all out. Calculating the cost of it, right from how much product you have, add it all up. That's going to give you a item cost, and then you can calculate your wholesale cost and from these numbers, and then you can itemize it, your wholesale, and you can get your retail cost and item cost again, and then a summary of the whole booklet. So if you're wondering on how to price these signs, this is great, because you can go in and you can say, okay, I paid this much for paint, I paid this much for the hook on the back, I paid, and itemize it. You're going to get a total, you're going to add your item cost, and that's going to give you either your wholesale cost or your retail cost. This is really great. And I don't like giving an example of what you should charge for your signs, because every area is different. Of course, if you're in the country like I am, my signs are probably going to sell for a little bit less than if you're in the city. So you just kind of have to take that into consideration. Okay, back to the comments. I'm taking a break from garden responsibilities. I'm making outdoor signs to educate people about garden techniques in the public garden. Great idea to do that. And if you are making signs for the outdoors, this works. I've had some signs that have been outside for 5 years. And what I did was I seal them up. If you're making a sign and you know it's going to go outside, seal them up with an outdoor polyacrylic sealer. There's 2 different formulas for polyacrylic sealer, the indoor and the outdoor. So if you're making a sign for outside, look for that outdoor formula. Paint the top, the sides, and the back so it's completely sealed up, and those signs will hold up in the elements for years. Okay, can we post on your Facebook page for opinions or questions on projects? Gail, you can absolutely, and if you send me a DM on my Facebook or my Instagram, you can send me pictures and I can guide you along and I can give you some advice if you're trying to figure out what's going on with one of these techniques or it's not working for you. I have lots of people that slide into my DMs and I'm really good about answering over there, and I can have a look and I can tell just by looking right away at a sign the troubles that you're having and guide you along. I love doing that, so you bet. What if it all filled up? Not quite sure what you mean by that. I was told to double or triple your expenses. Yeah, so you kind of take, so I have just a simple formula. You can always tweak it however you want, whatever's going to work for you. Because I'm so quick at making these, I don't have a lot of time in my projects. And where somebody that spends a lot more time on their signs, of course you'll have to, sell them for more. Or if you're doing a big project, then you're going to have to adjust the formula. But this is a starting point that works really well for pricing your DIYs. Hi there, watching from India. She is in the future. You are in the future watching me craft. Okay, so this is just a piece. I know I haven't painted the back of this one actually. And I should mention, when I'm making these signs, I always paint the back. And then I grab these. I always put a hanger on the back too. I've got a couple different ones. I've got some sawtooth. Let me see if I've got some other ones in here. I had some. Oh, I just got them all. There's what I'm looking for. Okay, so we've got these 3 different types. I buy these on Amazon. I'll put the link down below in the description after the video airs. These work really great. I would paint this, seal it all up, and then I would just put a hanger on the back. And you can get like packages of 100 of these at a time, and they're really reasonably priced. So once we've rubbed the graphics off, so helpful. I'm glad that my videos are helpful. So at the end of the day, I just love helping people out, crafting, whether you're doing it for fun or whether you're trying to do it as a side hustle to make some extra money. I love being able to share what I did, because my whole business started making these little signs, and it took off and I did really well selling them. And then I thought, you know what? I know how to make this work. And if I did a YouTube channel, I could share it with people and they could turn around and do it themselves too and make some extra money. Because you know what? All of us, if you can make even an extra $100 a month, that's a cell phone bill. Or, if you're just a young mom starting out, that's like a couple boxes. Diapers are so expensive. A couple boxes of diapers. So if you can save your scrap wood and you can make some of these signs and get them listed and sell them, you're going to be able to make some pretty easy side money with a minimal cost. Anyone know if the hardware stores have glass for picture frames? So you can, okay, so before I answer that question, I just want to show you, after I make these signs, I like to seal them up with a polyacrylic sealer. Now you can use either the spray or you can use the can to seal them up, and it makes them look really nice. You can seal them with Mod Podge, but I don't like that look of the Mod Podge. It's just kind of thick and creamy looking. It doesn't look as professional. You can play around and see what works for you, but I like the polyacrylic sealer the best. Now, as far as glass for picture frames, if you have a picture frame that the glass is broken on, I think most of the time you can go to the hardware store and they will cut glass for you. Just give them the dimensions and they'll cut it on site for you. You just have to call ahead and see. I know Home Depot does, but I'm in Canada, so it could be a little bit different, but definitely you should be able to find a hardware store that will do that for you. How do you attach your hangers? I've been using E6000. Okay, no. Let me see if I can dig. This is not the best system, guys, but so these hangers come with the sawtooth, and then see these tiny little screws? That's what they come with. The E6000 probably would be okay, but if you're selling the product, I think I would want to use the screws. I think they would be more permanent. So when you're buying these, just buy them so they have the screws and the hangers together. And that's what I use. And it works really well. If you're just joining, let me know where you're from and where you're watching from. And come and craft with us. I'm making signs on scrap pieces of wood. I didn't pay anything for any of these. This is just scrap wood that I found or people have given to me. I've painted them up with some chalk paint and put some graphics on them. And all of these will sell really well. This is a cute little, this is going to be a shelf sitter. So now you guys don't see me using color very often, but that's why I did this, because I'm going to show you that you can use a light color paint to do this transfer method on. Now if you're using something a little bit darker than this, then you're gonna start to see that Mod Podge outline, but if you're using a lighter color, it works. And I'll just bring this up a bit closer. See, it works pretty good and it blends in. If you're finding you're getting a little bit of an outline, you can always go back with that paint color and take a little paintbrush and just paint in around the letters also, and that will blend it in nice. Does it matter which manufacturer formula to buy for polyacrylic? No, you can. I have used all the different ones and they all work really well. Me, being a thrifter, being an upcycler, I go in and the first thing I do is look for the cheapest one, because honestly, most of the time they work all the same, and I haven't seen too much of a difference. Okay, we got Texas in here, and we got Arizona and East Coast UK. This is awesome. Okay, so this piece of scrap wood, I actually did some distressed painting on it. See, I love this chippy. I should have maybe done the sign on this side. That would have looked nice too. Although you could do a sign on each side, so you could turn it around, and your decor on your feeling, you could put thankful on this side and go away on this side. And that would be a really great seller probably, actually. I might do that. But yeah, try some different painting techniques underneath your signs too. It gives them a little bit more character. It's just not plain white, you know, and it just makes your stuff stand out than the ordinary when you're doing a kind of a different painting technique on it. And this one worked really well. I'm happy with that blue and how it blended in. Wonder if a good job to be a solo RV trail. Oh, wouldn't that be fantastic if you could travel in your RV, collect little pieces of scrap wood and sell them along the way. And you know what you could do is stop in on the road into little shops on your way, have a little basket, say, are you interested? I'll sell you these wholesale, and sell your signs. You might be surprised. You'll pick up some gas money really easy. And you could change your signs up as you're traveling to the area that you're at. So like if you're down in Florida, you could do more coastal. If you're in the Midwest, you could do more farmhouse. That's a fun idea. Do you have a laser printer that you recommend? Okay, so I have a Brother laser printer. I've had it for so long. It works fantastic. I'll put the link to that afterwards down in the description, because I have honestly had no issues whatsoever. And the laser printers are not as expensive as they used to be. They've really come down in price. And so if you're wanting to do these, then I would just get a laser printer and give it a go. But I will put the link to that down in the description. We got Houston, Texas. I love it. Isn't it a great idea? And I love that, to travel on the road and make these little signs. I could totally see myself doing that. You know, when you're getting ready to retire and you love crafting, you could just get in. We have a trailer. Get in a trailer and go on a road trip and sell your signs as you go. Great idea. Has anyone been telling your friends? Make sure you're telling your friends to save all the scrap bits and pieces of wood. And I think I had mentioned before and in previous videos too, that you can go to your Home Depot. If you go back to the back of the Home Depot store, they have a bin where they cut all of their wood and they put all their scraps in there, and you can just take them for free. And they're already cut, most of them, ready to be made into a sign. And that's a great way to get a start of collecting some scrap wood to make signs. Also, pallets. You always see pallets everywhere. People are giving them away. And you can cut those up and turn them all into signs also. And 24/7 marketplace. You'll sometimes see people that will have scrap wood, getting rid of them, and yeah, and you can grab some wood there. I honestly don't remember, like I said before, when I bought wood. I'm always able to find free stuff. So, and this is free weeds. Pull your own. I could seal this up with outdoor polyacrylic sealer, put it in my garden, and it would be really cute. Okay, what do we got going on here next? Oh, I'll show you while we're on the go here. This is my paint recipe booklet. Now, I've kind of made this pretty, but many of you probably have already picked this up. If not, if you're on my Patreon, use your 70% off code. If you're a member of my channel, you got a 50% off code, and grab this recipe book because it is fantastic. It's got all of my favorite paint recipes in here. The chalk paint that I use on all of my signs. I like this because it's at your fingertips, and you can just go to the recipe that you want to use, and it's really handy. I like having something in my hand. So that's something also too, if you want to grab that out of the Etsy store and craft with that. We got South Africa. I'm doing it with a laser printer, but I still can't get paper off without rubbing too much of the letters of the images. Okay, so if you're having a little bit of a hard time and it's rubbing off, you could be using too much water. If you're soaking right through, you're going to soften up that Mod Podge and it's going to rub off. You don't need very much. As you can see here, like, there's no water dripping anywhere. It's just enough to just dampen the paper, and so the graphics can start to show through and then rub off. So that could be one issue. The other issue is maybe you're putting not enough Mod Podge on. It's just kind of, I got this upside down. It's just kind of one of those things that the first time you do it, it's not going to be perfect. It does take a little bit of practice, but if you can master it, it works great. Then you will not need a Cricut, and you will not need stencils. And I'm telling you, I have a Cricut. I don't like using it that much because the vinyl is so expensive. And if you're making signs to make a profit with, we want to keep our item cost down. So if you have to start buying vinyl and all that jazz, it's going to get expensive. So I like this technique because you don't have to spend all of that money. You can basically pretty much do it for free. 57, my kids are grown, my husband. That would be fantastic, yes, to just travel and do that. Can you do another in-depth tutorial on sizing and printing for large text signs? I get so frustrated I want to pull my hair. I have a really great video on how to size the bigger signs. I'll put the link to that down in the description. It's really easy. I do it in Google Docs. It's a free program, free Word program. And I'll put the link to that video down in there. And it takes you right step by step on how I size these graphics. Can you use water-based paint to make your chalk paint, or is latex best? Latex paint is best. I have done it with acrylic paint. It just doesn't work as well. I find the latex works the best. And if you don't want to buy a big gallon of white latex paint, go to Home Depot or to Lowe's and just buy the little testers. You can buy the little testers of paint and just buy a white and then make your own little tester of chalk paint, and you don't have to buy a great big one. I think the testers here, they're around $5 or $6, and they'll stretch a long way, and you can paint a lot of signs on that. And that's a really affordable way of buying some latex paint. So this is rubbing off really nice. I love this beach sign. We got Israel in here. Okay, so I have done this on I think this might have been some sort of a palette, actually. And I just did I think I did some candle wax distressing on this piece of wood, and it's kind of just gave me the beach vibes. So that's why I chose to do this beach graphic with the arrow. And again, this one you could seal up with an outdoor polyacrylic sealer. You could nail it to a fence and it would hold up really well, making sure that you're sealing it along the top and the bottom, front and back, with the outdoor sealer. And if you're selling these, then make sure you let your customer know that either they're sealed for indoor use or outdoor use also, because you don't want them taking a sign that was only sealed with the indoor polyacrylic and then putting it outside, and then the next year it's all kind of come apart. Okay, that looks pretty good. I love this graphic. This is a really good seller for me this time of year. And you can, if you're handy with making your own graphics too, you can use Canva, the free version of Canva. You can make your own signs if you're handy, and you could do pool, beach, lake, river, so many options. But yeah, I like this one. So these are all ready to seal up. I'll take them outside to my shed and I'll seal them up with my polyacrylic sealer. To save money, look in the clearance paint area. Yes, always look in the oops section. You can get some fantastic paint there, dirt cheap. Now, if you guys watched I think it was last week, I did a video on how to paint fabric, which is a fantastic technique. If you have not done that, if you've not painted fabric, you have to try that out. But at the beginning of the video, if you remember, I used an oops paint that, of course, it was cheap and I loved the color, and I started to paint my cushions of my chairs with this color, and oh, it was so bad. The color was horrible. So the oops section, I get excited when I find it, but then I want to use it up, and I used it on the wrong project and it didn't turn out very well. But I fixed it. If you watch through that video, you saw that I fixed it. I'll use that orange colored paint on another project other than chair cushions. Yeah, so a lot of times you'll find the people have bought paint, they didn't like the color, or they've ordered it and then they just never go back and pick it up, and you can find cheap paint there all the time. Thanks for joining along. If you're just here, I've got a perfect chair to try that on. Needs to be cleaned up first. Awesome. Yeah, I really have a lot of fun painting fabric, and with the fabric softener, that worked great. So check that video out if you haven't seen it. So this one is a piece of pallet wood again. I painted it with black, and then I went in with some yellow, and I put on my sunflower graphic. And again, this is getting a little bit darker, so you're going to see that Mod Podge show through a little bit. So, but this one looks actually pretty good. It's not too cloudy. I think it's going to be okay. And it just gives that sign a little bit of a pop of color. I find this time of year, like I said before, try to stick to your neutral colors, but when we're getting into spring and summer, and these are going to be put outside, it's nice to use a little bit of a pop of color. People like that in their gardens. So just gonna, and you can see, I like also doing this in real time because you can see how long it actually takes for me to make a sign and rub off the graphic. And it actually doesn't take that long, and I actually find it relaxing actually. I can sit here and I can make signs all day. I'll just put a podcast on or some music and relax and make signs. And next thing you know, you've got a whole pile that you can put together and you can sell. You can mix paints together. Certainly you can. If you have the tail end of two types of paint, they're both latex, mix them together, create another color. Don't waste it, and put something together. I like using those as an underneath color that you would use for a distressing look. If I've got some colors that I've mixed together, that works great for that. Yeah, if you don't have that recipe book, it's a really great resource. Yes, the beach transfers are in my Etsy store, and if you're a Patreon member or a channel member, make sure you're using your discount code in my Etsy store. Do you ever use the rubbed off paper for other projects? Do you know what? I'm going to tell you, I actually have. I sometimes save all of these because I love to make homemade paper, and I'll save all my scrap bits and pieces of paper, and I will just keep a pile of it, and then I'll throw it in that batch of my scrap paper and then mix it in with my homemade paper. Nothing wasted, because you can imagine you actually get quite a big pile if you're making a lot of signs. Throw them in with your scrap paper and turn it into homemade paper. We are getting there. We're almost here. And like this technique I said before, it's never 100% perfect. This is a distressed transfer. Now you can see here, like see where here it's kind of rubbed off and here, but I find that it gives it character. It just kind of makes it look like it's a one of a kind. It doesn't look like it's something that came from Target and everybody's gonna have. It's just unique. And I love that about this technique with these signs. And that also is why it makes them a good seller, because you're not going to see this sign. You're not going to see 20 of them in the store. You're going to see only this one, and I think that's a selling feature. Okay. I love that. Wouldn't that be great if you had a nice steak and put it in the ground, put that in your flower garden? I think that would be beautiful. I remember that video. I'm glad you changed the color. It turned out so pretty. Oh yeah, those chair cushions that I did at my cabin. Oh, it was so bad. And of course I was committed to this video. I started the paint, and as soon as I painted that first cushion, I'm like, oh my, this is barf. Now how am I going to save this video? So I just embraced it. I finished up the cushions, and then I went back in with the second color, and I did like a turquoise color on them, and I was really happy with the outcome after that. But it was trial and error for a while. Me and my cheap paint. A mini vac would be good for this project. So here you go, guys. Look at this mini vacuum. I actually had one of my followers send me this, which was so kind. And you just see if I can get it to go here. It's a little vacuum. Look at that. And is that perfect cleanup? And this is a great little gadget. If you don't have one of these, I'll put the link below in the description for that, because that's fun. And it wasn't, I think it was around $10. And if you're in a craft room, small area like me, it works really great for cleanup. I also like to use it on my computer. I'll go over my keyboard with it too and dust with it. Do I get the discount automatically or do I have to enter it? No, when you sign up for either of those, programs, you'll be sent an email and the discount code will be in there. And then you just put the discount code in the box when you check out and it'll come off automatically. Also consider getting friends, neighbors, and coworkers to give you leftover paints. I have paint that shows up on my doorstep too. Just get word out. All my friends know what I do. They know I'm a repurposer. Actually, this week alone, I was given a kitchen table, a desk, a study desk, and a whole bin full of casters and old key locks and keys, and they were just from friends that knew that I was upcycling and knew I could do something with it. The downside to that is I get a lot of stuff, and at some point then I start to get overwhelmed because how am I going to do all of these projects? So a lot of times if I get too much ahead, then I have other friends that are recyclers, so I also just share with them too, and I'll just give them send them a message or give them a call and say, hey, I got this, I can't get to this project, would you be interested in it? So it's full circle, but yes, ask friends and family for leftover paint too. I need that little vacuum. Isn't it so cute? I know, and it works great. And then you just the top comes off. Oh shoot, I just opened the wrong one. I haven't used this in a, oh here it is. And then you just press this here and see all your papers in the bottom, and then you can just throw it in the garbage. Snaps back on. Cutest little thing. This is my problem. I have so many things and don't know where to start. Ugh, welcome to my life. But you know what? What's nice for me is I have all of this stuff and I have to make content for you guys. So it keeps the content going. So it works out for me. I have so many things that are given to me, and it just means instead of you getting 2 videos a week, you're going to get 3 videos a week because I got too much stuff that I need to upcycle. So I just keep going. Just keep going. How long do you leave your print on the wood before you wipe it off? Overnight. Yes, I like to leave it overnight. You want to ensure that that Mod Podge is really dry. I have done signs where I haven't let it sit as long, and it does work okay, but I do get the best results if I am letting them sit overnight. And then you're ensuring that, I mean, if you put this much work into a piece of wood and you've painted it and you've sized the graphic and put the graphic on it, you want to make sure that you're letting it sit long enough so you're going to get a good transfer. So here's another one where I used a little pop of color, the blue. This again is just another piece of pallet wood, free pallet wood. I think this would be great to put on a pool, on the fence by the pool maybe. And we just seal it up with some outdoor polyacrylic sealer. This is in my Etsy store too. Now, my graphics sometimes, I don't have an example to show you, but this one, when you print it off, it says hello and then summer. You can cut them apart like this. You can cut them apart and put them on different sizes on your sign. You're not limited to how they print off. You can move them around, you can cut them up, you can use 2 different graphics together. Just get creative. Okay. Remind me you are using manufactured Mod Podge or your own. Oh no, so that's a really good question or a really good point. I'm using this Art Minds, but it's a dupe of Mod Podge. Works the same, but homemade Mod Podge will not work for a transfer. There's something in the Mod Podge that allows it to transfer that is not in the homemade recipe. So if you're making homemade Mod Podge, it's really great for decoupaging, not great for image transfer. So I hope that answered your question. I seem to rub off the graphic no matter how long I wait. It just takes practice. If, like I said before, if you are doing a sign and you are having some issues, send me a picture on Instagram or Facebook and or you can even email me. All those links are in the description, and I will look at it and I will know right away what your issue is, and I can help guide you through it. So Tammy, send me a picture and I can help you out. My husband brings home a lot of different size scrap wood from work. You've inspired me to earn some extra cash. That's fantastic. That is what these videos are all about. If I can help somebody else out to make their life a little bit easier and a little bit better, and also a lot of us are kind of the same age where our kids are gone, we're empty nesters, and we're just looking to craft, maybe not even so much to make some extra money, but just to have something that we enjoy and to take up some of our time with. That's what I really hope to do with these videos. So thank you, I'm glad. Do you have a video on how to adjust one of your graphics? Yes, I do. I have a full video on how to size the graphics and make them for bigger signs, and it's really helpful. So that link will be down in the description too. I made a large welcome sign that was very simple, and it will show you exactly right from start to finish how to do that. Have you done natural brown stain, chalk paint, and then graphic? It would work. No, you can use any color paint. So I just use the black because I like the look of it. But so like this one here, I used a red and a blue mix. There's no rules. You can use any color combination on your signs. And sometimes for me, the more wild I get with paint colors and the more chippy, the more I like it. So you're definitely not limited to the black. You can use brown stain, you can use a color, just whatever your heart likes. Thanks for joining. Do you have a video on natural stain? Yes, natural stain. I do have a video on natural stain. You know what my go-to right now is for stain? Instant coffee. I love mixing up a little bit of instant coffee in some hot water and using it as a stain. It works fantastic. My last video that I just put up, I used it on a serving tray, and when I was finished, the color almost matched exactly, and it was just instant coffee and hot water. Worked fantastic. But I also have a stain, a DIY stain using acrylic paint, and that works really well too. I'll put that link down below. My description is going to be full of links for you guys. Yes, kids are growing and now I'm having to fun craft. Yeah, I know. It's nice when you're retired and your kids are gone and you can pick up crafting and just enjoy that quiet time. For me, it's a nice time to just sit, and it allows my brain to kind of just slow down and catch my breath. And I really love that about crafting. And I'm not expecting, my daughter-in-law is expecting my very first grandbaby is June, the end of June. So this is going to be a new adventure for us. I'm entering a new era of my life with grandbabies, so you might see some baby themed signs in the future here. So my kids have all left, but now they're going to start coming home with grandkids. Instant coffee on wood. Wow, you will be blown away how well it actually works. And I've got a little crease here. I'm just taking the edge of my scissors. This is what I mean about it being kind of rustic. I just got some paper that balled up in there, and I want to get it out. Yeah, you can also, if you don't have instant coffee, get some tea bags, soak them in some hot water, and then just use that solution. Rub it on the wood, and it works great. Yes, and I am going to be a Grammy. I decided that I want to be Grammy with an Grammy. So, and they're having a little girl, so I'm going to have a little grandbaby girl. I'm excited. You'll see lots of pictures. Okay, go jump in the lake. Again, seal this up with some outdoor polyacrylic sealer. You're good to go. These are a really great seller. If you want to use the formula on how to price them, I've got that booklet, and it's a great resource. Okay, I got one more sign here. Thanks for like hanging out with me, guys. It's always much fun doing this with other friends than just sitting and crafting alone. Thank you so much. Graphics for babies and kids. There'll be lots and lots of pictures too. So this is just a hunk of scrap wood again. Now I haven't painted the back of this. Before I sell it, I'll make sure that I paint the back. We'll put a hanger on it. We'll seal it all up. This is one of my newer graphics that if you were a Patreon member, I think you got this one last week. Maybe last week or the week before. But this one is a really great seller right now. And really good for kitchen. Some of these, you don't have to do this technique either. Some of these, you can just print on a piece of paper and frame them. If you've got some frames that you've bought at the thrift store, you can do some painting techniques on the frame and then print off one of these graphics, add it, and they actually sell really well too. And any of my graphics that you're using, they're not copyrighted. So you can print them off and use them in one of your crafts and sell them, and I don't have an issue with that. That's fine. Organic fresh herbs. Yeah, this is nice. I like this one. 14 grands and 7 great-grandchildren, Bonnie. Oh my gosh. How much fun when you guys all get together. Do you put hangers on the back? Yes, these are the hangers that I use. I've got some black ones and some gold ones and some of these type. Just whatever you want, depending on the size. If you're using a large sign, I would put one of these on each end. If you're doing small signs, then I would use those other rounded hooks. And they come with little screws, so you're good to go. Thanks, Diane. I'm glad that you're really enjoying this. How do you know when to use a hanging lever without a stake? What are you going to use for the 2 previous ones? Okay, so these ones I will probably put a hanger on the back. But if you have some scrap wood that are like stakes, you could put a stake on them and then push them on the ground. I think you just kind of have to see what you want to turn your sign into. But these ones I'll probably put hangers on. These ones don't need anything because they're just a shelf sitter. So you don't have to put anything on the back of those. But all of these, the rest of these, I'll probably put a hanger on the back. 2 daughters, 123. Yeah, and so my kids are 30, 28, and 27. So they're not kids anymore, they're adults. But we're very close, all of us. So, and my daughter Kirsten, who you've probably seen in my videos, or she runs my Patreon. She works for me full time. So we're kind of a mother-daughter team here at our Upcycled Life. So that's a lot of fun that we can share this journey together, her and I. She lives in Vancouver, I'm here in Ontario, but we do all of our work online and we're video chatting back and forth every day, and she does such a good job for me. I'm so blessed to have her helping me out with the channel because some of this technology, guys, is wild. Okay, that is great. Have you ever used a pop tab? Yeah, I have, and they work fine too. And they're just so what she means by that is that you just use a hammer and hammer it in for the tabs on the back, and they work fine too. Now I wanted to show you right here because this is what I mean about it not being perfect. So right here, can you see where that rubbed off? But I don't mind it because it kind of has that overall distressed look, and I think it looks good. So we're not going to worry about that. If there's pieces that rub off, we're embracing it and moving on. Okay, let's do a roundup. This one, the Thankful. We've got a hand-churned butter. We got Market Fresh. We got sunflowers. Go jump in the lake. We've got a beach. We got a Hello Summer. We got a Free Weeds, pull your own. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45. So even if I only charge $5 a sign, which I think I will charge more, but I'm just kind of giving you an overall, you know, to see what. So even if I only get $5 a sign, I just made 50 bucks. It's that easy to make these signs and make some extra cash. Yes, everyone, remember, if you want to hit that thumbs up or share with your friends, I really appreciate it, and it really helps out my channel too. And then don't forget, I got my paint recipe booklet in my Etsy store. I've got the how you can price your DIYs, the formula in here, which is fantastic, in my Etsy store. And then I also have the ultimate craft show checklist. This is great if you're doing craft shows or if you have a booth. Great resources in that. And if you want to make lots of signs, definitely check out my Patreon club, because you are going to get graphics so cheap and so affordable. They all are great sellers, and you're going to get them in your inbox every Friday at midnight for $6.99, and you're guaranteed by the end of the month to have 20 graphics. Last month, like I said before, you guys got 30 graphics. So it's a great deal. Okay. No one purchased my crafts. What to do? Okay, so that's an important question. So before I sign off, I'm going to answer that. If you have something that you find is not selling, go to some of your best friends, people that you know are going to give you an honest opinion, and ask what they think about your product. Do you like this? What would you do? How would you change it? Would you buy it? Get feedback from your family and friends. Take it into consideration. Don't take offense to it. And then make a little tweak or a little change or a little color change. And you might be surprised on they'll then sell better for you. So listen to your buyers and to what they want. So that's the one thing, even with a channel, even with a YouTube channel, I can't make content all the time that I like. I have to make content that you guys like. If I just made stuff that I liked over and over again, you guys are not going to like it. I have to listen to what you guys want, create it, and that helps you along to create a better selling product. Hope that answers you. Do they sell on Marketplace? Yes, they sell on Marketplace. So, okay, for an example, if I was going to list these on Marketplace tonight, I would take this sign, and maybe this sign, and I would list them as a group. And I would figure out my formula, how much it costs to make these signs, put a price on them, and sell in a group of 3. I find they sell a lot better if you do it that way, opposed to just selling one sign for like $5. Plus, if you're selling 3, because with Marketplace, you got to have somebody coming to your house and picking it up. So if you're only selling one sign and one sign and one sign, you're going to have 20 people coming to your house. If you're doing more bundles, you're not going to have to deal with as many people. You're going to get the cash faster, and then you can create more. So that's what I like to do. Yes, I have to go too. I have to get back to editing, and I appreciate you guys following along while I craft it here. Like I said before, send me pictures over on Instagram and Facebook. I can help you out. I'm always in the comments. If you have any problems, just message and I will be there. So thanks so much for hanging out with me. We will see you in the next video. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.